So I am here with Bertoni and Glass Porn. If you look him up on Instagram, and is it Facebook on Bertoni as well? Or
just Instagram.
Just Instagram, and then Facebook, Glass Porn, and then you guys always know Terry. He's here, of course, almost every Monday or Wednesday. So we're going to have fun. We are going to talk about the 710 event that went on last weekend, all the deals that you missed if you're not in the rewards program, and all the fun stuff you miss on a hot dog night that should have been hot dog month. So
yeah, wait, I missed hot dog night?
Oh my God, it was a blast. I went through 200 hot dogs and people were crazy. At one point there was a line behind me with empty buns and I felt like drool coming down on some of their mouth. And then I went basic with the toppings, but I supplemented with chips.
Okay.
So,
oh dude, chips are good on any sandwich.
Oh yeah, so I was like, what's better than a hot dog and chips?
Facts.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was good weather. It wasn't too hot. Everybody was in town for hot dog night. There was thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah, good thing the newspaper didn't get a picture of me skateboarding my grill across town.
That would have been great.
Funny.
They did. You were on the
they got pictures of me, just not skateboarding the grill across town. So
okay, I'm gonna have to film that sometime. That's great.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, not every business, but the majority of business in town, one Thursday night a year in the summer, they give away hot dogs, and they usually give away each business 100 to 300 hot dogs. So it's people from all over, people who don't want to cook for their kids, they bring them to hot dog night.
Yeah, all these teenagers were behind me. I heard them, I'm on my 15th hot dog. I'm like, please stop. I'm slaving away over
This
here.
is why the Munchies is so cool. Like, obviously, everybody just gets hungry. You can literally draw in crowds. Hot dog night, come through. I would literally leave my house to get
Dude,
that.
I'd pull up for Glizzy night.
Yeah,
Glizzy night.
It's been going on for 64 years,
Oh,
too.
shoot.
So it's a
Okay.
good tradition, too. So it was fun to be a part of this year because I wasn't part of it last year. I think they still were as of a shop, but it was my first year doing it, so it was pretty fun.
Nice.
And then this weekend we got Nutcracker Fest. I don't know if that's what it's called, but we'll call it Nutcracker Fest.
Just in time.
And there'll be it's not the unveiling, but it's the official celebration of the world's largest nutcracker this weekend. So if you're in the area and you want to come, it's Friday and Saturday, I think. I might be wrong. We're always wrong on everything.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I'm just curious what kind of nuts you're gonna crack with that massive thing. You like dump a pound of them in there, and then like we're good to go.
It's going to have a moving jaw. It doesn't have a moving jaw right now, but eventually it's going to have a moving jaw. So
Nice.
And if you want to see a cooler nutcracker, during 605 PopCon, there was an auction for a Scream nutcracker, and you could come down at High Fidelity and check that out because that's where it is posted. So,
yep, it's autographed by, I believe, two of the.
I think everyone but the dude who made the original Scream. So
Nice.
Yeah, we just need to get him out one day, draw him in, be like, hey, come for a penny pre-roll, just sign this now.
Right.
Worth it.
And how do people get penny pre-rolls?
Well, all the time. If they make a 5-star review, they could get one. Only once time for that, and then also they get a $4.20 pre-roll on their birthday. But right now, any Redwood pre-roll is going to be $7.10. So I mean, for a full grand pre-roll, that's a good deal. I know some shops in town selling .35 pre-rolls for $8. So
Crazy deal.
That's awesome, man. I feel like in pre-rolls, like I used to like go to all the dispensaries and I'd cut open the pre-rolls and re-roll them, and you'd find like yellow leaves and all kinds of weird stuff in there. And then like all of a sudden after my reviews came out, they changed the system, and then I'd go cut them and they're like really good weeds. So it's like, I mean, it's interesting to see the progression. But like, I feel like if they could do pre-rolls of hash holes. Do you guys have hash holes out here?
Not yet, but we actually won a competition with this dude who was doing like the best dispo in Minnesota, and we had the most votes, and he is one of the first people who are going to be manufacturing hash holes in Minnesota, and he just got his license, I think, 3 weeks ago, so he's definitely out a little bit, but soon they'll be coming.
So I need to come back. That's what you're saying.
The only
Right.
like infused type of pre-roll we have right now is like a joint with distillate infused flour and then keef on the outside. We're not as fancy as you Denver folks.
Oh, dude, Denver has stuff that's like they shouldn't even have made. They made something called rosalite. Rosulate is distillate mixed with rosin. So I have to say, like, it literally, like, they don't even put it on the package. They actually, like, make it look like it's like this really high-end product, but it ends up being like here. I don't even mind distillate, though. I'll smoke distillate every single day. I used to smoke brick weed. To me, it doesn't, as long as I get high, I'm happy. But, yeah, it's just an interesting world out there.
Yeah, one of my favorite pre-rolls in Denver is probably those 710s with the noodles.
Oh, dude, the 710, they just released those from what I saw. I just saw maybe they released them last week, but I saw that they're like, okay, the noodles are like the cheaper ones and then the more expensive. But I would pay, like, I used to go to Cali and it was $100 per hash hole, and it was really good weed and it was really good, like, live rosin. And I mean, I have to say, like, yesterday, Mosh, I told him I was putting my live rosin in my joints, and he's just like, you're wasting it. So I have to say, different stoners, different times.
Hash holes are fun. They're cool. And people who don't know what a hash hole is, if you make a joint and then you put a little, like, hash snake, which is rosin or some type of wax in it, if you looking at the top of it, it literally will have, like, a glowing hole where the extract is, like, kind of melting down and then the flower is burning around it. So it kind of looks like a donut.
Yeah, they're super cool. I just feel like I like to see the progression, because when I was a kid, it was like just brick weed and like pipe, and then like rolling a joint was hard, because my guy that I used to allegedly get flour from, I'd go to his spot and like I'd be like, hey, can you roll me a blunt for the way home? And he'd be like, we got to smoke one with me. So now I had to smoke fucking a whole blunt, and then he rolls me one, and then eventually he's like, all right, dude, I'm gonna just show you how to roll. And I remember I rolled a good one, and then he broke it in half. He said, fix it. After I fixed it, he's like, you're good to go now. Have a nice day. So teach a man to fish. Thank you so much for that.
I always got a Sprite bottle and just made a grab, so.
Oh, dude. My first was a soda can. Anybody smoke out of a soda can?
Yep.
I feel like mine was a Coke can, and it was the worst weed. I can still taste it was like smoking oregano, but I got high from it, so it was like interesting. But
yeah. How is the Colorado market? We normally talk Minnesota market, so it's interesting. We have two people from Colorado, so you can chime in how the Colorado market is.
Well, if anything, that's like on my level, it's like, I mean, flowers at like $650 for like a high-end flower that used to be for around $3,000 or $4,000. I feel like the pen market, I don't like it because it took over so much that nobody dabs out of rigs anymore. And I'm like, dude, like I love them for like baseball games, but like, you know, at the same time though, they took all the lounges away, and we used to have like 5 lounges in town that you could go to and blaze and hang out with strangers from people all over.
Yeah, I think Tetra is the only one that I can think of that's still there.
Yeah, they keep getting hit by the state, so they're the only licensed actual like place. They have another one called like Cirrus, and it's like, dude, it's like all the preppy kids you remember that were super rich as a kid and we're the stoners. Yeah, that's what the Cirrus Club, and it's expensive. It
So
costs
all
like
the elves?
$140 to get in.
And I don't think you're allowed to bring your own rig.
You have to
or
rent
your
the
own
bong
weed.
from them for like
Yeah, you have to
$50.
get everything
Oh,
from
that's
them.
awful. We
Yeah.
saw something like that in Vegas, and it was like you could rent the Volcano, rent a Puff Go. I'm
That's
like,
exactly their
"Yo,
model."
What are you doing?
Yeah.
To me, it's stuff we don't need.
Yeah, and you rent it for like half the price you could have bought the device for.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, the point is going and like show and tell. It's like that used to be the thing. Like you'd go to clubs and around the table of 5 people, you'd find different rigs, vaporizers, friggin' like gravity bongs. And we used to sit in the circle and they'd pass around all that stuff. And I mean, hell, 6-footer bongs, bring them back, man. Let's go.
yeah, you gonna make a 6-foot flamingo?
No, that'd be sick.
Preferably not.
I'm pretty sure Terry would put it in his front yard.
I would for sure.
Yo, we saw your front yard.
Yeah, it was sick.
Yeah.
Amazing, dude. Amazing.
I remember, I can't remember the name of the show, but it was Shipping Wars, actually. Shipping Wars on A&E.
That was a good one.
And they actually had one episode with, you know, I'm not a big fan, but Grav Labs.
Oh.
And they had, I think it was 10 foot, I can't remember, but I think they were bringing it to a champ show, and they were on Shipping Wars bringing that.
That's hilarious.
It's smart. I mean, I feel like Chris Jetter, I met him in Denver, and he's a glass artist for 30 years making tubes. Well, what he would do is he would go to like fucking like concerts and stuff, and he would bring a 6-footer bong with him every time, and he would gift it to somebody there, and like he would just be, everybody knew him as gifting these 6-footers. And I mean, to me, it's like the original bongs and all that stuff. And I get the electronics; they're okay, but it's like you're never gonna get the real rip and the flower hits that you want. Versus vaporizing, kind of tastes weird. I kind of like the burn occasionally.
I would have loved to have been gifted a 6-foot water pipe, but I would have hated had to figure out how
Where
to
do you-
ship that from Vegas back up
right.
to here. Like, I don't think that's getting on a Delta or a Allegiant flight. So
Where do you put it though? Because like well, back then I didn't have
Lean
a
it
big
up in the
place.
corner of your living
I was in a
room.
basement. I had to crouch down in, so like obviously I can't even get it through the door, and it's like. But same difference. Glass over the years to me is kind of cool to like look back at like Snodgrass and like some of the early fume work, and you know those were the bowls that would change colors when you would smoke out of them and stuff. And like that was my first instance of like looking at like what I considered heady. But I think that the world's progressed now to see like the sculptures that you make. I mean, you guys just made or as Garner Glass and him made a pineapple and a flamingo all in one. And I have to say, it's called Swinger's Delight, and it is the coolest piece I've ever heard of, just because obviously outside the box make you laugh. It's got a story to it. It was made at the shop. This is what we need going on more. I'd like to see more shops doing this.
yeah, and if you don't know what they're talking about, we pretty much talked about it for a couple weeks, maybe months, had flyers up a lot of places. It was on Instagram and Facebook. We did a live glass blowing event. This guy right here, and then a local glass blower, Gardner Glass, did pretty much 2 days. They busted out in heat for you guys, so they did a lot more work than me, let me tell you what. So if you didn't show up, you definitely were the clown of the week. So
Yeah, for sure. It was upper 90s, behind the torch, sun blazing.
and not only
It was a good time.
I liked it.
I don't know what
It's a
these guys are
vibe,
talking
man.
about. We had fun.
It was a vibe.
We
That's,
had
that's what it
fun.
was.
I think it's his heat stroke talking
yeah,
right now.
and not only did they have a good time, but we did have a good giveaway. We had a $710 giveaway, and the dude
man.
walked out with a volcano. He was so happy. He said he's been eyeing one for the longest time, but he never could spit out the cash for it. So when you get extra cash flow like that, not out of your pocket, it's like Christmas for a guy like that. So
Oh, dude, that'll be a story for him. Imagine, like, this volcano is not just a regular volcano. This was something I won in a contest at a live glass blowing show. That, I mean, this is stuff to where, like, people, to fathom this, it's kind of cool. Like, you're right there to see how they make everything. And then afterwards to see you can still smoke out of it. Oh, dude, make my day.
oh yeah.
Yeah, what's cool about it is imagine 15 years ago in South Dakota when they weren't allowing pipes to be sold, and now we're downtown Sioux Falls and we have two people right in a parking lot, live glass blowing pipes. Yep.
That's cool, man. And to me, it's like when people talk culture and stuff, like, I mean, I just enjoy the fact that it's stuff that I want to hear about. I want to hear about glass. I want to hear about cannabis. I want to hear about, like, stories where people came from. Because when I first came up to pipes, I couldn't even say pipe. If you said a bong in a shop, you got thrown out and blacklisted, and you could never come back. And I mean, I remember a place that had a bunch of dugouts, at least like the hitter boxes, and I called it a dugout. I got banned from, it was like Mary Jane in like Illinois. I got banned forever. And I mean, I have to say, banning somebody forever, it's like, dude, I was buying stuff. I mean, like let me know. Give me at least 2 warnings before you got to kick me out. I mean, but nowadays it is priceless to see. I can say bong on my videos. I can literally be on a video and say, this is a recycler. But at the same time, I think Facebook kind of wised up and was like, okay, we need to allow, like, obviously these are made for sometimes for weed, but like, hey, these are currently not even used. So you need to leave us alone. I mean, at least tell us what we're doing wrong so we can fix it. Because that's the worst part ever. We get bans.
Oh yeah, and I think the huge thing is it's just mainly the AI just thinks it's against the guidelines, and then you have to repeal it, and then they're like, oh, it was wrong, my bad.
Well, just remember
But then
this.
the damage is done.
This is a good tip. Just remember, like, if you ever see, like, have a problem, get a flag, stuff like that, what you do is you just verify your account, and then you get chat support. So you can call Facebook on the phone and talk to a real person and explain your situation. And what it did is I have a group called Cannabis TV, and it got deleted 6 times. Well, 6 times I called Facebook because I had their phone number, which I wasn't supposed to have, but they called me, kept it, called in to see if it worked. And I was like, hey, like, why did you delete my group? Like, if you guys were, like, hitting me every single time I did this wrong and not telling me how to fix it, you're abusers. And, like, they gave it back every time. So I think that, like, I think I progressed on the online tools to where cannabis can now be on Facebook, because they used to tell me if I had cannabis in the name, you're shadow banned. And then I was like, can I add .tv? They're like, yeah, you can be searched after that. So I'm like, okay, cannabis.tv. But
So it couldn't be at the end. Cannabis couldn't be the last thing.
Yeah, it's basically nowadays it's easier. I mean, honestly, like I have a friend that I taught how to do like the social media monetization, and he does like the giant bong, like earth smoke, huge 6-footer bong. He puts people inside of it, gets them super stoned and stuff. And honestly, his content, as long as it's far enough back, they can't see it's weed. You're not actually showing buds. You're not showing any of that. And he can do those. And he made his first check was like 11 grand. So they are progressing. It's just one of those where, I mean, there is people out there that can help. So, I mean, I just know like Instagram these days, they're starting to come back and it's like, thank you. Because I can see more Bertoni. I can see more Mothership and all these cool artists out there. Because back then, you're shadow banned.
And Ben, how long have you been glass blowing?
26 years now. I started in 1999. I lived in Hawaii when I started blowing glass, and I feel like the stuff I used to make there and sell has kind of translated into the pipe work that I do. It's like very tropical, a lot of sea life. And then, the progression to flamingos happened after I moved to the mainland. I spent some time in Italy, in Venice, blowing glass when I was younger, which was really cool. But yeah, 26 years now. It's been a long time, 20 years full time. Yeah, it's been a ride.
As you say, ups and downs
been a
in
ride.
the industry.
Dude,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Like that, your colors, like it makes a lot of sense that your colors came from Hawaii and such, like the bright
Well, the
pinks
colors
and
all came
brights
from
and.
Oregon.
Oh, wow. You said like inspiration wise. I don't know. I just think that.
Inspiration wise, yes, very tropical, and it's just because that's the stuff I was making when I lived out there. And I still live in Colorado now. People are like, "Oh, why don't you make bears and why don't you make moose and pine trees?" And because I resonate with palm trees and the ocean. Like that for me, that's like who I am. And Florida sells a lot of my work as well, and it definitely, I feel like, appeals to a lot of the more tropical climate. But I think all over the country, people like that type of thing because it's like it's bright, it's shiny, it like makes them feel good. So
Makes them feel warm when it's negative 25 degrees in Minnesota.
Right. Really, what? As far as glass blowing, is this like a high market, low market, medium? Like as far as like sales and stuff?
it's pretty low right now. It feels like it's on its way back up, but it's the last few years have been really slow for a lot of artists. A lot of people I know. I hate to say, I'd say about 90% of the glass artists that I'm friends with have kind of gotten a second job, which is now their first job, and they, blow glass in their free time. There's nothing wrong with that. A job's a job. You got to pay your bills. You got to make money. Some people just haven't been able to adjust to the low of the market. But I think as it kind of starts picking back up, more people are going to come back to it. So I'd like to see it continue on the click, 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 click of the roller coaster, and then just never get that big drop again. As long as we keep going up, it'll be good.
And I think, glass porn, that kind of is beneficial in that getting that up, huh?
Absolutely.
Getting that marketing out
It's
there.
appreciative in my world because, like, I when I started it, like, I got in a car wreck and I had testicular cancer and I couldn't leave bed for 3 years and I had nothing to do because during COVID and lockdown, everybody's arguing on Facebook about everything. Those were my only outlets for any kind of like to see cool stuff. And so I figured, I was like, I bet no artist will respond to me. But I was like, I reached out through Messenger and I was like, hey, like, can I feature you guys on Facebook? I'll credit you, because nobody was crediting artists on Facebook of any kind. Like all that stuff just went out the window. So every person was like, absolutely, dude, please. Because like back then it was not monetized. So once it officially monetized and stuff, I was like, I can't do those videos anymore unless like I talk to the artist and maybe we do like a split on them or something. But I think glass porn, since I hear all these artists talking about it, it's just neat because I made it for just the love of glass for myself, so I could look at something pretty every day. And then after people started following it, I started having artists telling me like, you help me sell stuff. Like you your video sold that piece or something. And like, to me, it's really endearing because I never started out to make money from any of this. It was just for pure love. I love glass. I never really showed my face. I didn't really care about all that stuff because
This may be the first time the public has ever seen this man.
this is true. And I feel like if anything, like to be pro art, I don't know many people that can just do that can be like, but I really I couldn't talk back then. Okay. So like I hit my head so hard, I could barely talk. I could barely, conversate. So I was like, I don't think anybody wants to see this disabled, broken person that's whatever. So I figured I didn't even talk for the first few years. So I recently started talking. And now people are like, dude, you're glass porn. I know that voice. And I'm like, oh no. Like I tried to hide for so many years and you just can't. So, but at least it's beneficial to artists. And I feel like my first show, Champs, I think in Denver, and I mean, I was afraid to even touch glass back then, so you can see that I progressed further into my career of going like, now people just hand me $10,000 pieces of glass, and I'm like, how am I supposed to film and hold this thing? Oh my gosh.
Oh, I know. When I took him over to some of the shops, I was just like, here, take it. He's like, I was like,
Well,
"And
this man's
one?"
like holding it. He grabs
like,
it with
"This
weird
one?"
angles. It's like glass artists, okay? It's easy for me to pick them up, but like setting them down. I see like Windstar will grab it and just set it down. I'm like, oh my God. Like I'm so afraid, but it's like over the years, 6.5 years, knock on wood, I've never broken, dropped any of that stuff. So I feel like it's also helped me with my career because artists are like, oh, this dude's not trying to like be on camera doing all this weird stuff. You know?
I even told him the history when I walked in the 49th. I was like, this is actually the only store I've broken a heady at. I was like, so I have bad history with this store.
Well, if anything, it's like, I mean, I feel like in my, like with glass art, just having like my first pendant of understanding pendants, like I had to have like, I think like 10 or 11 pendants that were cheap or $100 so I could understand how they swing. If it breaks, I mean, I think I had a piece that had fingers on it and I broke every finger like 10 times and glued them back on to the point where I was like, okay, I need to shorten the chain. That was the problem. So, but I think it's such a cool world that like, like now, like I never thought it'd be something I can hang out with artist Bertoni. Like I never thought I'd have a friend that's a glass artist. Like Garner, me and him kicked it in I got split a hotel, which I never get to hang out with the artists. Like I never really showed my face. So it's like now it's like, oh cool, like I can go hang out with these people and they're all like the chill vibe. It's kind of like when I met Joe P. It's like, dude, I made pipes because I smoke weed. It wasn't like any cryptic anything. It's like I smoke weed, so I make pipes. So, I mean, that's where I'm at, man. And honestly, in glass porn, people are always like, can I smoke out of that? And that's my favorite part about sculptures now. Like, you can show off a piece, and people have no idea you can smoke out of it. But, like, this is the stuff I wish I had when I was young. Like, so my mother couldn't, like, know what I had. Like, it's like, oh, it's a vase, Mom. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and speaking of, like, pendants, that was all the rage a few years ago. And then we switched to marbles. Now it's cups.
It's a true factor.
Ben, are you doing any cups or anything like that?
I love making cups. I've been making a lot of cups the last year and a half, 2 years. I just, especially when we were talking about the pipe market being kind of slow, pendants picked up, marbles picked up, cups have picked up, and like there's a lot of people out there that smoke weed, but it's a small percentage of the people that hydrate or drink anything, whether it's water, beer, juice, and having a nice cup that you can use every day there's just such a broader market for that. And I feel like that's been part of what's kind of like helped me continue doing what I'm doing and not having to get a second job. Cups took off the last few years, and I really do enjoy making them. Small coffee cups, espresso cups, teacups, pint glasses.
Nice,
kind of anything like
glass.
that. Yeah,
those are my favorite to film. Like honestly, like to see those, like when I first saw them, I was just like, oh my God! Like I mean, obviously it's glass, but like to see your line work that you put in, and you put your cool little bird skulls or like things on there, and like I don't know, something about a glass like that to me, like to have in my kitchen. Like I see pizza cutters at Terry's house that have like the heady handles on them, and Eugene just made one. I saw like a pizza cutter with another artist. So I like sometimes I like the non-functional. It's like when I first saw
they're totally functional though. A pizza cutter's functional. A cup is
that
functional.
That is a good point. I feel like I probably should lose that word, but yeah, it's definitely true. But
Unsmokable.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, the cups that like recycle the liquid inside,
Probably good.
those those are so cool. I mean, obviously the goblet, I was in Denver for a long time with Champs, and like, I mean, that was the coolest part of the show is like you could go up there and put $200 in, and you could get like a gift,
the
like
goblet grab,
possibly
yeah.
win like one of the pieces. But
Yeah.
I was never lucky enough to win. But I'm happy I got to film your cups, man. Like,
You know, I entered the goblet grab every year when it was in Denver, and then now they do it at the Austin show because they moved the Denver show down to Texas. And almost every time my ticket gets drawn when there's only like 3 or 4 cups left at the end to choose from. But one of these last times I was like, I think I was in the top, like maybe the 5th cup I got to pick. I got to go home with a really nice one. So, you know, it's definitely like that's the name of the game
We're
though.
gonna have to go to the Texas one.
Oh, you guys should. The Texas show
I hear
is
it's killer.
super fun.
I didn't know about this goblet yet.
The goblet grab, yeah.
Yeah, it's dope.
You've been
it's a
holding
super
back
cool-
on me.
It's a super cool
This is the
one.
first time hearing of it.
Oh,
Yeah, allegedly.
Austin Champs is one of the,
And
in my opinion, it's like one of the better, like more fun of the Champs trade shows.
And it's wild because Austin's so like, or not just Austin, but Texas is so anti-THCA now and anti
Right.
pretty
They
much
scare me.
everything except for
Austin is very progressive.
Yeah.
Like Austin is like a diamond surrounded by the rest of Texas.
Yeah,
heard.
I heard that in Austin, the last Champs, that you'd go bar to bar and they have dab stations. Is this true? Like,
Yeah.
It's well.
Yeah, the
Holding back on
Yeah,
me.
I know.
The-
wild
We're gonna
stuff.
have a talk after this podcast.
the glass blowing studio in Austin that is kind of affiliated with Champs is called the Glassmith, and they have it's maybe like an 8-person bench, and then they have like the backside where all of the kind of daily renters are, and I think there's like 8 stations there, and so you can get almost 20 people in there blowing glass, and then they have this like speakeasy. With like a hidden door to get to
that.
it, and they're all 2-way mirrors or 1-way mirrors or whatever it's called, where the people inside the speakeasy can like look into the studio and watch everybody blowing glass.
That's cool.
And then in the front they have their head shop where they sell glass and papers and vapes and everything else, and they also have a dab station up there, and they can sell THCA and you can walk in, you can have a sample if that's what you like, you can make your purchase and you can go on your way. It's kind of like an all inclusive spot to go to. It's a cool place.
That's cool. I've heard Glassmith before, and like I know, like I met one. He made like skateboards or something. Like that's not the same guy.
No.
He's the same dude
That's a
who made
glass
Yoga.
artist, glassmith versus
The
the
glass
glassmith shop. Yes.
Okay, cool. I mean, I just enjoy the fact that like I learn about something new every day within the glass world I didn't know. So like, I mean, like you're saying like, oh, like dude, you're holding out. It's like, this is why I like the culture of it. Like there's so much out there. And that's why I'm glad I can talk in my videos now. So I can be like, hey, like tell me some shops, show me what the best is. And I even have people like, dude, go to FOCO, go to this one. I walk in and see the coolest stuff I've ever seen in my life. And I mean, after going to your gallery, oh my gosh, you have some of the most coolest OG pieces that you just have not seen on camera in probably like 5 to 10 years. And I mean, I think one of my first videos is like almost a million views now with that lightsaber by Dreamfire. So I mean, I enjoy the fact that the heady shops still exist, because I was worried that it was just going to go all to like the import stuff, and like, no offense to import stuff, but like I really do enjoy how strong my pieces are. I have like this thing. I mean, I gotta
All
say,
offense to import stuff.
I bumped this into a bunch of stuff, and knock on wood, it's never broke. So I mean, I'm just like, okay, cool. I want glass that I can trust.
Yeah, and I feel like a huge hit on the market the last couple of years were all these electronic devices. Like, a lot of people didn't make when the Peak came out, Peak Tops, or even the Peak Pro till just a couple of years ago. And now I feel like these electronic devices are kind of adapting to want to integrate with glass artists, which is what they should have been doing begin with instead of, outsourcing their tops from China. But, to each their own. So...
Well, we were talking about it yesterday, me and Bertoni, about like, the fact that the new e-nail piece that they made is more conducive, that it's going to be glass art that's going to be the 90% that runs those things. But I feel like in my terms, like people, it's not just those devices, it's the vapes at like dispensaries. I mean, now people have just a vape they can like, hit, but they're not experiencing what the really good terpenes are. And that's what I feel like. I'm hoping that e-nail piece will bring something back, but I don't know.
You need the rig, you need the banger.
You need that, yeah, and that's
I
the
have
case.
the link. It doesn't work the best.
Well, the problem is Denver doesn't allow open torches anymore. You're not allowed to have a torch in Denver, so you can't have open flame. So that's the problem.
I mean, it depends on where you go.
Do they want me to be
depends on
like
where you go.
Cyclops and just heat up my banger with my eyes?
Well, that's
That
why
would be
the convenience of like a disposable cart from a dispensary or the Puffco, the Puffco Carta, Dr. Dabber pieces have kind of exploded the way they have, is because a lot of places don't allow open flame. And, I understand the convenience of having those type of pieces because you don't need a banger. You don't need your slurper cap. You don't need your pearls. You
can take it in your pocket.
That's what makes me fun. I love tinkering with it
and,
all.
I'm in the same boat as you. I'm old timey where I like having the rig. I like having the heating it up and like listening to that flame roar and then waiting, for it to cool down to the proper temperature and then taking a super hot dab anyways. Like, that's like,
if you're not sweating, you're not dabbing.
right. Exactly.
This is a fact. I mean, to me, it's like I remember like my first dab. Like, I mean, so many people like are all in the case. Oh, I've been smoking dabs since I was 12. Like me, it took till I was like 32 to move to Denver. And like they had shatter at that time and they were doing like worms, like, so like my first dab experience was like a gram dab that looked like a tiny dab. And then they stuck like a gram inside the carb cap and then they put it on the e-nail and it just kept smoking. They're like, go. So I looked at the floor for 45 fucking minutes before like all of a sudden I was like, I'm kind of hungry, and like kind of went off on my way with the munchies. But like dabs, I like that they're, with my cancer, I had bad like throw up sick as well as my brain injury. So dabs are to me like a fast, like acting kind of thing. If I take a vape, but smoking flower is my true absolute favorite. I love flower. It gets you higher longer. You get different feelings. You get the actual all of what's in the bud versus THC and terps.
Yeah. I'm a flower guy too. So
Zach was never a flower guy until we opened the dispensary. Now we forced him to become a flower guy.
Now I have to try so many samples and flower strains.
Oh, that's terrible.
I got a Hims.
It's so awful that he has to do all that.
Yeah, I got a Hims inside out too.
How old are you?
Old enough.
No. How old are you?
27.
Okay, you're still a baby.
Dude,
so
I could have a kid
You
your
never
age.
had to do a shady parking lot transaction. You never had to like get out there and be like, yo, let me like call your weed dealer and then wait 3 hours for them to call you back.
Or you have to go to their house and wait 45
You
minutes
get
before
to
you can
walk
leave.
into the store. We had to crawl so that you could run.
Wait till you guys go check out the store. I got
I'm
my bud
excited
bar
to see
there.
it.
When you
Same.
pick a strain up, I have a TV. It tells you everything about it.
Oh, cool.
So
All right.
we don't even have to talk if you don't want to talk to people. Because I know a lot of old people don't like human interaction. They just
Yeah.
want to look at bud and then tell us what they want. So
Well, this is where the lounges come in, where I missed that because I remember like there's a daughter that brought her mother from India to come to Colorado just so they could smoke, and I got to smoke with this lady, and I mean I gotta say just the older lounges that allowed you to bring in your own flower is bring your own weed. So like versus now you have to buy everything in house. It's all dispensary ran, and if they catch you with anything else, which I got caught, I didn't care. I got caught with my own weed several times, and I'm not allowed at the coffee joint anymore. But I don't like that kind of world. I want to be able to it's like show and tell, bring my own weed, I want to bring my bong. I want to like show people my dry pipes. I get like we are all like COVID after that. We don't want to pass, but here's my bong, bro. Go smoke. I mean, I got alcohol wipes.
It's just a different business model these days.
Yeah, is it regulation based? They want more taxable income, and
Wow.
if people bring it out, they think it's from black market.
Which is-
that kind of why.
which is wild. They want more taxable income, but in Minnesota they let the native set up for 3% at no tax income. So
Right, and we're
Colorado made $500 million their like second year of legality or something like that, and like they actually no money goes to the roads. Roads all suck. None of this money they said was going to go all over, but like yet they want to tax us. And then the med department or whatever, the people that control it all, they come up with like weird like stuff that people have to change. I remember when they told us that we could, like a friend of mine, you cannot have dab containers that are clear anymore. So we had to go and paint. And then paint didn't work, and then we had to go buy, like, we had to throw out, like, all this stuff. So, I mean, to keep coming up with
Do you
metric
guys have
rules.
to go through that here too?
So we
it's
ended
new
up
for us.
buying some clear jars, and then they're like, yeah, you can't have clear jars. They have to be opaque. And then we were like,
Yeah.
Well, dude, they're not even
we can
child
sell
proof. They're
these and-
adult proof. I can't even get, I have to call the dispensary to ask them how I get in my gram jars
Right.
now. It's like, come on now.
And then like Colorado, they kind of just like when one state raises the tax, Colorado's like, ooh, they raised the tax.
We're gonna raise it again,
raise
too.
it. Yeah.
Well, the fact that we have EPCs, I don't know if you guys have EPCs, extended plant counts here, to where like you can buy a pound of cannabis and it's perfectly legal versus like, I mean, and that was in the early days, they had 199 plant counts. If you got one of those, you could have 199 plants, 50, like half in flower, half in veg. And like, I mean, I had 4 or 5 houses legally as caregiverships because you could have up to 5 patients per house. So like basically regular people could come to me and I would grow their weed. They'd give me their medical cards. I'd register it with the state. And then they didn't ask questions after that. They never asked me where my weed went. Like I could just be like, yeah, I had to throw away that whole crop. It's terrible. I mean, God, I mean, I don't know what we're doing it for, but it was kind of cool to see that was the world.
You guys know what the tax rate is in Colorado?
I'm not sure. I just know that like
It's
when
high,
you go to buy like cartridges, okay, like on the black market you can get carts for like $30 for like a gram of live rosin. If you go to the store, it's $90 rec. If you go medical, which is crazy, they're trying to downplay medical, and medical's what got us here. So it's just like I like medical stores because then I can go buy an ounce of dabs if I want. Like I can go buy an ounce of live rosin. That to me was cool because. I mean, I smoke a lot, and like, I mean, it's so nice to be like, oh, I'm gonna take a dab from every single fucking container, you know. But I mean, the world is progressing. I mean, every time Colorado, the Westward magazine comes out and says, oh, dude, we're like 500% in the negative for like
ours.
cannabis sales.
so your guys' just went up to match ours, so 15%. So we were the second highest in the nation, so now we're tied.
Now we're
with it.
tied.
Yeah, twins.
I dig it.
And ours started low, and then they hadn't even issued any license, and then they went in and raised it before even license were issued. to
And
15.
not just
man,
that, they also cut out the cities and towns.
Yeah, so it was
Oh,
it was a
dude.
split. So the tax was going to be high, but not crazy high like it is now. And then the municipalities would get a percentage of that tax money. And when they raised it, they cut out the
Yeah,
municipalities.
normally they raise it because they give the cities and towns some, but now they raised it because they were like, we have leaning centers, we got
So
to fund.
it's tough because because we have a high state sales tax as well. So it's a 21.6875%. It's almost 22% tax.
Dude, it's like 40 something from what I remember, like in the early days. But I mean, I can't believe that, like, okay, we give all this tax money. The city's making tons of money. We need to have our people that smoke weed or have smoked weed before to be in those meetings to be like, you guys are taxing us on a level that's like for like medical drugs. You know, it's like almost like I need insurance now to go to a freaking dispensary.
It is medical drugs, though.
Yeah, but like on the medical side, like to me, it's like it's always been cheaper on the medical side. Like now to downplay it and say like, oh, rec, you need to spend $90 on a gram now. And it's like, to me, recreational is much looser. With medical, they have certain stipulations. They want to have higher levels. So in my cancer, I could get specific numbers that I wanted. But same time, I will forever love just blasting in my backyard when it was perfectly legal. They didn't have rules about it. You could just sit back there with a glass tube and just be blasting dabs. And the idiots that blew up their houses are the ones that ruined it for all of us. Because I was in my backyard. I wasn't in a pressurized. I read the can. It said pressurized gas and fire creates explosion. You know, I remember my
Have you
friend.
never been out there smoking a cigarette while you're blasting a fucking
let's just say
couple
this.
ounces of weed?
Okay, a friend of mine, when CBS or whoever the NBC came to town in like 2015, when the lounges, and they came to like interview everybody, and my friend was fucking blasting in his kitchen, smoking a cigarette. And that's right after the law changed or whatever. And I remember like they came into the club and they kept bothering us. So I was like, dude, everybody blow your dab hits at the camera guy. So eventually you see the camera guy's gone and he's in the back room like this, like, so it was good because they cut out everything we said. So, I mean, they basically left in what they could trash us with and then,
Sure.
but yeah, I love Denver for the fact that it's always just been a fun place.
How's the glass scene in Colorado? Is it's still
It's
pretty
huge.
pretty huge?
If you go to like Everdream, like in like out there in Evergreen, like there's all you got Nate Myers, you got like Adam G, you got Ubatuba, you got freaking Joe P used to be out there. He's at his house now. So I mean, I can't remember. There's another guy like WNC or something. Like the guy that does.
WJC?
Yeah, he's the guy that does all the pattern. He's in there. So I mean, you think, and then also Matt Robertson's out there. So some of the best artists in the world, I can just go like a hop and a skip away, and I can go see some cool stuff. But at the same time, for years, I couldn't even get into. Like I'd message people like, "Hey, can I come film?" Be like, "Who are you?" Yeah. But I have to say now it's kind of fun.
And speaking of Robertson, he has a podcast too. He does like a little session podcast, which is kind of cool.
He does.
He does.
I was on it.
Yeah, I thought you were.
The end of season 6, we did an episode together. It was pretty fun. It was a cool experience.
Nice.
Got to get him out one day.
Yeah. And speaking of glass, like we obviously focus on American glass, and but most shops in our area don't. Like we're maybe one of two.
We're a unicorn.
Yeah, we're a unicorn in South Dakota and in our area of Minnesota for sure.
Yeah, I think the only people other than us in Minnesota, I'd say, is Legacy. I don't know anyone else in Minnesota.
And we can preach it all day to customers, but coming directly from you, Ben, or Glass Porn, maybe give us even more to preach of why it's important to have the American glass and why that little extra cost is worthwhile.
I would say is because it's made in the United States. It's the culture and the movement started here, and overseas and imports saw it as a way to make money. And it, for me and for my friends, like, this is how we make our living. This is how we feed our families. It is probably more expensive to make it here. There are some, kind of factories that do make bongs and pipes in large quantities in the United States as well. But for the most part, like, if you're buying heady glass, it is something that was made by hand. It was made with love by an individual artist. You're feeding their family. Our overhead is the same as what everybody else pays. Like, we've still got to pay our rent and our mortgage and, pay for a studio. And the cost might be a little bit more, but that's like going directly back into us, something that we love doing. Something that we as kind of stoners help to develop and build this culture from the ground up. The American glass movement is something totally unique. And that's kind of what you're investing in when you buy a nice pipe. I said something earlier about, the import scene and it has its place. Shops need to make money. There's probably a better profit margin on that. But as far as like American glass goes, it's something that we love to do, and that's the reason why we're doing it. Support American artists, support glass artists, local artists, support your community. If this is something that you enjoy doing every day, if this is your ritual, it's the same thing for us. We go in there into the studio every day and, smoke a bowl and kind of fire up the kiln and, get going and start working for the day. And, we've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing this for 26 years, and I know there's artists that have been doing it for longer than me. And, it's definitely something that we do for the love of glass and the love of our culture and the counterculture that is definitely, a little more mainstream these days. So that's kind of what people are investing in when they buy something from an American artist. They're investing in the American dream, to be able to work for yourself, to be able to make a living doing something that you love. So,
and when you think of American glass, you don't have to think of like a $400, $500 piece. There's, American glass artists who are just freshly in the scene, who I've seen American glass pieces for $10 to $15, $30. So, I mean, there is American glass for just same price as import. So when you put that in perspective, why not shop somewhere local, shop somewhere where you're supporting someone who might want to build a family compared to somewhere where it's actually probably still illegal to smoke cannabis, like where it gets you arrested and probably killed. So when you put it in perspectives like that,
hopefully nobody's dying over this kind of stuff.
I don't. They're
do
crazy
be- it
in
probably
China.
do- it probably do
They
be
don't like
happening,
homeless
but,
or
yeah.
cannabis, is what I hear.
Yeah.
Right.
And then Japan just banned CBN. So
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
they're crazy over the other side of the sea. So thank Americans.
Yeah, and I like how you use the word investing, and it is an investment, especially if you are going not with the lower priced items, but the higher priced items. We see it's just like, it'd be interesting to see like the StockX, their market where they go up and down.
Sure.
Because
That would be cool.
we see that in the glass industry a lot, where it's like this piece might have gone for 20 grand a year ago, and now maybe it's only going to go for 15, or but that's how it fluctuates. So it is, a lot of these headier pieces are an investment.
Yep.
And I think a lot of the people who kind of got into the scene too, just to flip a lot of the pieces too, because they were like, they saw 5 years ago, a lot of these pieces, bought and then tripled. So they weren't really caring for the community. They were just looking for dollar signs. And now they're like, all right, I just want 1/10 of my money back so I could get out of the industry. And there's a lot of people like that, but then there's a lot of people like glass porn. Like when we go to the shows, we're still buying crazy because we think American Dream's still there. We think Hetty Scene's still alive. We think
It is.
it's gonna sell. We still sell. So I mean, so I still think it's still going up. I think it's a positive point. So
On my things like this, like I would have 0 following at all on my page. It would just be dead. There would be no views. Like obviously, I should see that kind of fluctuation through what people like to see. But I see people that are like, in my opinion, it's the right customer. So I tell people all the time, like, look, if you see a big piece, like Shayla, so Windstar, she has a big wolf head, right? I think she did that with Phil Siegel or something. Okay, so this piece, like, people are always like, oh, dude, like, why would they do something this big? And I'm
that
like,
was a Hick Dog collab.
oh, Hick
actually,
Dog.
yeah.
Okay. So basically, like, to me, I always tell people, I'm like, look, this is them demonstrating every skill they've probably ever done in one piece to show. And I'm like, look, shops buy these. And then, I have to say, I'm like, okay, I never thought I'd buy a $2,000, AKM. But at the same time, it's like, to me, I saved up for like 6-7 years of being homeless and shit. And I really wanted to have like something. I didn't want to go to AKM and I didn't want free stuff. I have to say, like, my whole career, I've never taken a free anything unless like they've pushed it. Like they're like, look, I feel like you helped me out and made me some money. Please take this out of respect. But like, I've heard that, I just think that the world needs to be, to show that. So I think that glass porn represents the fact of that the dream's not dead. I mean, I have people every day that sometimes pieces sell that are crazy. And I mean to see a $10,000 piece sell, and that's just what it is. I look at Ferrari. I look at like some of the higher end companies and cars and stuff. Like they're not producing them. There's always a customer for those. And I mean, there used to be a guy in the glass community that he'd buy Headies and he'd be on his private jet showing off like a banjo on his private jet, and then he's on Hawaii's island showing off stuff. So I mean, I just think that like there's a pipe for everybody. There's a bong for everybody. There's a rig for everybody. Don't think that it's out of your reach. It's just like trying to afford a nice car. Save a little bit, get yourself something that you can like, have some memories with. But I think Hetty's is going so far. I see new kids doing the Hetty channel. I see all these new kids getting into it and stuff, and I'm like, yes, please, because I love to just show off glass. It's a game to me. Like I thought glass porn would get deleted the first day because I put glass in porn. It's like the most shadow banned hashtag. If I used it on Instagram, I got deleted every single time. So it's kind of cool to bring something public back, and it's like, so I just enjoy glass porn for the fact that it was built through just love. I just needed stuff cool to look at, and like the fact that now I can get up close and I can hold pieces and I can ask artists stuff and I can learn a little more, because I think there needs to be a book of like all the terms, and if all the artists put into that, it'd be a cool thing to have, because like all the terms, I have trouble knowing what a rod and a tube is and all like a punty and all this other stuff. And you got to imagine, I bet there's thousands of glass words, like fumes and like the silver implosion, or like, it's just crazy. So I have to say, over all the years, 6.5 years in, I know more about glass, but I don't. I'm like a baby in this thing. I don't know nothing. So that's why I think it's not dead, because
you see soft glass now. You see like, people are really coming out to understand this is a sculpture. Okay, you can call it a bong all you want, but like this is real sculpting with glass. I think there's going to be a TV channel eventually, something like that.
Do we have a lot of, like, Garner Glass obviously is much younger than a lot of the glass blowers out there. Do we have enough younger glass blowers coming
Absolutely.
up?
There are a lot of new glass blowers. There are a lot of younger glass blowers. And, the one thing I have noticed amongst the younger generation of artists is that the progression they have is so much faster than what it was like when I started blowing glass. There was this kind of like glass curtain that nobody would share secrets. Nobody would tell you how to do this. Nobody would tell you how to do that. If you worked in a communal studio, people would put up dividers between their benches so you couldn't look at the next, at what the next person was doing. And now, maybe around like 2010, 2011 or so, people really became a lot more open, and there was this like tremendous growth in the art form, because I think a lot of the artists became friends and realized that like we can grow a lot faster together than if we continue to keep these secrets. So like getting the chance to work with Garner was super fun, because we kind of got to shoot some ideas back and forth and combine our styles together. And having a younger artist having access to a more experienced artist is going to be like a great growth on both sides, honestly, but especially for the younger artists to be able to throw ideas back and forth and like ask questions about techniques and like, oh, how do you do this? How do you do that? He showed me how he does his blow tubes, and I showed him how I do mine. And like, I would have never, I'm sure I could do it the way that he does, but it's not something that like really ever crossed my mind. And then I showed him how I do mine, and he's like, yeah, I guess you could do it. You could kind of go both ways. And there's probably like 20 other ways to do the same thing. And so like a lot of more experienced artists opening up and sharing the knowledge with the younger artists, and also things like YouTube, like you can learn how to do anything on YouTube these days. Like you got a 1996 Honda Civic and you need to change the radiator. Right. There's at least 9 videos that you could that'll just pop up. And it's the same with glass blowing, like a lot of different techniques and things like that. Are more readily available for the younger generation of artists. So seeing their growth and like the speed of the increased quality of their work and what they're able to make is like, it's mind blowing these days. And so, I recommend, I don't want to say everybody get into glass blowing, but like if you like doing art, if you did a lot of ceramics, if you're 3-dimensionally inclined, like give it a try, find a place that'll do hour or 2-hour classes, and like where you can rent bench space by the day, and maybe not necessarily invest in all the equipment until you realize that you love it, because I promise if you try it, you will love it.
It was fun.
But seeing the growth of this in general is just it's really like uplifting, as someone who's been in the industry for a long time.
Has technology changed? I don't know if that's the right word, technology, but it's glass blowing advanced
absolutely.
much?
Yeah,
like the
absolutely.
equipment you can get.
New equipment, there's always been lathes and torches and things like that, but there's, there are better torches now than there were when I started. I think it's just something that's like occurred as the art form and the culture has progressed, is like, people are developing new tools and new ways to do things that enable a much more dynamic and diverse kind of style of working and what is possible versus what it was, 20 years ago. So
I think it's kind of neat to see. Like, I never knew there were lathes. I never knew that there was like that kind of art until I met the Beagles. Puka Beagle, Ron Beagle does. He used to do scientific, and I think he created like the first bubble top and like the thermal bangers and stuff. And I know Toro worked with him, and like the first, I think 20 Toros were with Ron. So I don't know. I just like when I
got into seeing soft glass for the first time, I was like shocked. I was like, I didn't understand that, like the glory hole thing.
Soft glass has been around for thousands of years.
Really?
Thousands of years.
Is it before Headies were?
Absolutely. There was probably some heady soft glass back then, but
Well, dude,
soft glass
that-
has been around forever.
That coil molar cup I showed you, that the molar part was soft glass.
Interesting. And that's the case. Like, I mean, I saw people doing stuff with soft glass because it moves different. Like,
It does.
So when they dump it, like, and they're able to like dump it on those plates and they just like squish it out and make plates and cool. And like, that's when I started realizing that, man, like, okay, glass porn, as much as like I only knew Headies, and then like now I'm like seeing soft glass, but I do enjoy to see like the fact that like somebody like Garner, okay, like I stayed with him at a hotel, like at first Glass Roots I ever filmed, freaking flew out there. I have to say, it's fun, or as champs. So, but I saw his work progress. Like, I mean, I literally met him. He had this bird whistle, and it was super cool. And then, like, the next couple ones he made were just crazy looking. And I'm just like, and then, I mean, his SpongeBob tech is what I'd call it. That is the coolest work. And the fact that he can make a SpongeBob this big, like with a face, has expression, looks just like it. I mean, I can't imagine making something that small. So, I mean, watching, like, I think it's like Ryan, there's one of the artists that makes his stringers, and he fits it through a mechanical pencil. And then he draws. That's how he draws his work. I'm not sure if it's Ryan Fitt or I'm not Ryan Fitt, but I'm terrible at like knowing the names. And that's another thing in glass art. Like I didn't know anybody's name for years, so I call everybody their glass name. And I'm kind of glad people are calling me glass porn, but now it's kind of nice to be like, oh, Ben, okay, cool, all right.
Whoa, we're using government names here?
Oh, snap.
Hold on. I didn't know that was a thing.
I dropped a bomb. I called him Bert for the first, I don't know how many years. And he's like, don't worry, everybody calls me Bert.
Everybody calls me Bert.
But I mean, I feel awkward because like when I started glass porn, I hit my head in a car wreck, so I had no idea who I was. I barely remembered anything every day, but I just knew that I at least seeing a glass piece, like my first piece on Instagram, I was like, oh my God, dude, like this made my day. Like I had so many questions and I had so many stuff running through my head. How did they do this? And every time I see something new that just breaks the internet, I'm just like, to me, it breaks my insight because I've never seen pieces like this. I've never understood like how you guys can make, you know, like the colors when it's bright red. They're working with a hot piece of glass and they know what colors are going to come out without even having to cool it off, which, I mean, to see that his flamingo is a sand color like Garner. I did not realize that because it looked pink the whole time you were working with it.
Sure.
And we better talk about High Fidelity real quick. Anything exciting happening, Zach, this week? Are you going to have any deals?
So first I'll talk about what they missed on 7/10. So we did have the Loon dabs for $71.10 after tax, because why not on 7/10, you know, pay $71.10. Normally $91, so they saved roughly around $22. So it was like 22% off. We had flour for I think 25% off and $8 grams. So I mean,
Yes.
definitely killer deals. Normally the grams are $16, so that's half off right there just for one. Even if you buy it a zip, you would have saved like $50 to $75. We are out of carts though, so I know everyone's upset unless you want half grams. We still do have $7.10 pre-rolls, and then the rest of the redwood flour is going to be 25% off till the 20th as well. So that's going to be the podcast deals. Let's see. I do
Podcast deals.
Yeah,
Podcast deals.
I
Podcast
do have another strain coming in from Trawa. I have Mindo Breath coming in as well. And then Disco has some new stuff in the works as well. I have to keep it secret, but it will be here this week. So keep posted, and I'll make a text come out very soon. So very limited. There'll only be 48 jars. So if you sleep on it, don't message us mad like a lot of other people have.
Yeah, the carts, do you see them coming back soon, Zach? Or
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's going to be a couple months. Right now, the tribes are really trying to stick up with their own stores. They're kind of opening one in Mankato right now, so they don't really want to sell to other shops, which is kind of understandable. But at the same time, they did sign a compact, you know, to supply shops, not just to step on our turf. So it's kind of aggravating at the same time. So hopefully, we see other producers get some carts out. I do have some rosin ones coming, but it's going to be hopefully the end of August. So I don't want people to think I'm going to get them in a week. It's going to be a little bit. So
Interesting to see how that goes, because like in Denver, like I work with a couple of different companies that I take photos for and do videos, and like I mean, you can literally like I used to be able to call the store, and to this day I can call the dispensary and be like, hey man, I need this, and by the afternoon it's there. So it's like, I mean, but we've been around for a long time. So I mean, I look after it's nothing to compare to.
yeah,
but-
I tell people all the time it's crazy when there's places like Denver where they have to burn harvest because they have so much weed. And I was over here with a cup like, give me a nug, sir. But
May I have another?
exactly. But all right, we're gonna wrap it up here. Hopefully you guys had a great show. Hopefully you guys tune in next week.
Yeah, and a huge thanks before we go. Huge thanks to.
Oh yeah. Again, Instagram Bertoni, Facebook Glass Porn. If you want to look at some good glass, go give him a follow. We also have Gardner Glass here on Instagram. He's just a little camera shy.
Yeah,
But
it's
he
all-
is handsome.
very,
Don't let him fool
very
you.
handsome.
So give them all a follow. Perfect. Thank you. Let's Be Blunt is recorded at Star Media Podcasting Suite in downtown Laverne, Minnesota. If you'd like more information about renting the suite, contact Star Media. See our show notes for more details.